It's time for the adventures of Indiana Jim! This has been the adventures of Indiana Jim!
Hello everyone, I'm Walter Benaziak.
I'm Heather Roos.
And I'm Anna Wade.
And this is Top 5. Most of us love Indiana Jones.
Across 4 great movies, there are tons of amazing moments in this franchise.
Well, 3 great movies.
The Indiana Jones character and films are beyond legendary at this point. Starting in 1981 with Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indy and the creators behind him, like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, have given us one of, if not, the most iconic action-adventure series in cinematic history.
With a proposed 5th film still in development, Indy's greatest days are most likely behind him. But that doesn't mean we can't celebrate his greatest feats on screen anytime we want.
There are scenes and sequences that will always be close to our hearts, and today, we cover the best of them.
These are the top 5 best Indiana Jones movie moments.
Number 5. Not only is it movie trivia worthy, but also my personal favorite moment of the series. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones is being chased through a market with Marion when she is abducted by Nazis. He's cornered by one of the bad guys, and in perhaps the most baller Indiana Jones move, he takes care of the baddie in the most logical way, shooting him, eliminating any need for a showdown. For those who don't know, this iconic scene has an interesting backstory. The original scene was supposed to be an extended combat sequence of sword versus whip. It was going to take a few days to shoot. Unfortunately, Harrison Ford had intestinal distress on location and was constantly returning to his trailer, making longer sequences difficult to shoot. Harrison remarked that it would make more sense to just shoot the swordsman, and that's exactly what he did. Yes, the stunt guy learned an entire sequence just to have it cut at a moment's notice. This moment was so classic Indy that it had a callback in the sequel Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones reaches for his gun, finds an empty holster, and must finally fight the swordsman gunless.
Number 4. I don't think this sequence is talked about quite as much as it used to be, which is a shame because it's incredible. In Temple of Doom, Indy, Willie, and Short Round are on the run and trying to escape the temple by jumping into a minecart. They're quickly followed and an epic chase ensues through the monstrous caverns. Unstable tracks and high speeds make for one bumpy ride. This isn't really just one moment. The whole scene needs to be praised and appreciated. It's one of the best pure effects sequences I've ever seen, and it more than holds up now. The expert use of miniatures mixed with the full-size sets flowed together perfectly. Even the water rushing through at the end looks realistic. Since that was shot with the miniatures, to avoid seeing the water droplets, the effects team used air cannons to keep the water looking as unwieldy and wild as possible. This is a true cinematic achievement, and while I don't think it's talked about as much as, say, the trench run in the original Star Wars, it's absolutely on that same level. Now, there is some early blue screen used that doesn't look great upon close inspection, but if you're into the movie, that's barely noticeable. Quite simply, they don't make them like this anymore. Nowadays, this would be any throwaway heavily computer animated sequence, and there would be nothing unique about it at all. What makes it stand out is the craftsmanship and by-hand hard work put in to make it look as realistic as possible. I've never seen it up on the big screen, but this would probably be 10 times better in a theater. However, I have ridden the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland, and it's one of my favorite at the park. Close enough, I guess. I encourage you to look up some behind-the-scenes videos about the making of Temple of Doom and this scene in particular. It's fascinating to listen to the effects team talk about how this sequence was done.
Number 3. images and scenes are more iconically Indiana Jones than switching an idol out for a bag of sand and being chased by a giant boulder. This was a part of the opening scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark. The opening sequence as a whole is arguably one of the best openings to a movie. It is the perfect introduction to the character and the world of Indiana Jones. We are dropped into the climax of a typical Indiana Jones caper. As Indy begins to explore the temple, the audience is able to see the skill and knowledge with which he conducts himself to eventually get to the idol in the final room of the temple. He then attempts to disarm the final trap using a bag of sand that he collected at the entrance of the temple. The first time I saw this scene, I remember holding my breath as Indy switches the idol with the sand. For a moment, we think that he's done it. Then, the trap is triggered and the temple begins to fall apart. The music picks up, the editing becomes more frantic, our hero is put in life or death situations. Here we see that Indy is also resourceful and can make up a great plan on the fly. The final element of this chase is a giant boulder that Indy narrowly avoids as he jumps out of the temple. So many elements came together to make this scene wonderful. The music, the shots, the editing, the practical effects, character moments. People have been trying to imitate it for decades and continue to reference it even in current pop culture. Number 2. This moment might make you lose your head.
But don't have a meltdown.
The whole of the first movie had been building to this moment. The Ark of the Covenant had been found, but it was in Nazi hands. Fearful that the Ark was a fake, the team of Nazis and archaeologists perform a ritual to open it before taking it back to Germany. During all of this, Indiana Jones and Marion have been captured. They actually play a very small role in this scene and have their eyes closed throughout to avoid the awesome power of the Ark. The Ark is opened and lightning strikes out at the Nazis. They are then surrounded by an ethereal light that turns deadly, leading to an infamous death scene. Tote's face literally melts off. Like there is so much power or radiation or whatever coming out of the Ark, it causes his skin to liquidate and stream off of his skull. Besides being amazingly gruesome, it was the perfect payoff to the buildup of opening the Ark. The effects look great and do a wonderful job portraying the action. The effect was created by first taking a face cast of the actor. The artist then built a skull made of stone and layered gelatin with other bits like yarn to create the melting face. The final result took many attempts before the perfect formula was found. It was an innovative and amazing practical effect. One of the things that takes it to the next level, though, is the gurgling noise at the end. So creepy, but so amazing.
Too many to mention. Almost every major moment from the first 3 films could fit here.
So if you want to see some more best moments from the series, go ahead and rewatch Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, and The Last Crusade.
It's time for more adventures with Indiana Jim. This has been the adventures of Indiana Jim.
And the number 1 best Indiana Jones movie moment is...
He chose poorly.
To me, this scene defines Indiana Jones. Our hero has reached the Holy Grail, literally, but Walter Donovan and Elsa Schneider are there to ruin the party. Among many false grails, the true cup of Christ sits, but Elsa purposely gives Donovan the wrong one, killing it. Now, Indy has to find the real grail to save his dying father. It's everything I love about these movies all in one sequence. The stakes are high with Henry Jones Sr. bleeding to death from Donovan's gunshot. Indy just made it past the trials and booby traps, we get another twist on the face melting scene, and of course, we get one of my favorite characters in this whole series, the Grail Knight.
The Grail cannot pass beyond the Great Seal. That is the boundary and the price of immortality.
The presentation of this character was fantastic, and I think Robert Edison did an amazing job in the role. It almost makes me want an animated spin-off series like they used to do back in the day. The Misadventures of the Grail Knight featuring Indiana Jones. It could be about the knight integrating into 1930 society. I would have watched the crap out of that. And that wave! It's the best in cinematic history. His line delivery is also legendary.
You have chosen wisely.
Indy finding the true grail and saving his dad was great as well. Actually, anything with Indy and his dad was great.
Indiana. Indiana. Let it go.
I love this scene so much. I love The Last Crusade. I love Indiana Jones. It was mostly a lot of fun rewatching these films. They're like nothing else, except the serials they were based on, I guess. But they will always be a gold standard when it comes to adventure movies, and one bad installment can never change that. Make sure you guys check out my new show, Fanscription. In it, we theorize how things would have played out if big events in film history took a different turn. In our first episode, we ask, what if Apollo Creed survived his fight with Ivan Drago in Rocky IV? That episode is up now, right here on Channel Awesome. Also, speaking of Indiana Jones type adventure movies, you guys remember Vernon Wells from Commando, Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, and Power Rangers Time Force? Well, I'm in a movie with him. Yes, really, and yes, that's my real hair. It's called City of Gold, and it will be available on Amazon, Hulu, iTunes, Google Play, and more on Tuesday, December 4th, with a DVD release on January 1st, 2019. If you're in the UK, the movie is already out under the title The Lost City of Gold. I have an interview up with the director of the film over on my personal channel now, so check that out for more information, or go straight to cityofgoldthemovie.com to pre-order.
We want to hear what you guys think. What's your favorite Indiana Jones movie moment?
What do you want to see us cover next on the show? Leave a comment and let us know.
To keep in touch, you could like my Facebook page or follow along on Twitter.
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or subscribe to my animated movie review series right here on YouTube.
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, or Twitch, where I stream on Wednesday nights.
We'll catch you right back here next week with the worst Indiana Jones movie moments on a brand new episode of Top 5.